Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about season two of the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. And here, I'm going to just minimize a couple things here. Now, what's kind of important here is that you need to understand that Rings of Power is the most expensive TV show ever made. To begin by a mile, by 10 miles. And season one came out, and I'm gonna share my screen here. So
It beat out She-Hulk.
by by a ridiculous amount. Okay, so
Oh
I'm gonna
wow!
show you this. Okay, so Rings of Power season one cost around $715 million to produce. Think about
Oh
that.
my
And
God!
and so like that's okay, that's a ridiculous amount of money. And it was unfortunately not super popular, but part of that also was, connected to they paid $250 million to the Tolkien family estate just to secure the rights for that. So, but they actually went ahead and they did a season one, which was interesting. I personally wasn't a huge fan, but it was interesting. But they came back for season two. In fact, what it looks to me like is that they're booked for 5 seasons to do this. And
Good.
I'm gonna yeah, I was shocked by that, but they are committed to this. You guys can see my screen, right, where it says Prime.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay,
Yes,
all
sir.
right. Um, hold on, I'm gonna reshare in a second. I want to share the audio too. All right. So I'm just going to play the trailer, just like we did yesterday, talking about Minecraft, and we're going to have a little chat. So, all right, here we go.
War has come to Middle-earth.
This is the work of Sauron.
Our armies cannot defeat him. Once the deceiver obtains a being's trust, he gains the ability to sculpt their very thoughts. You are wise to fear these rings. In Sauron's hands, they could work an evil beyond reckoning.
Aegion must not fall. It would be a mortal blow for all Middle-earth.
Sooner or later, Sauron's eye bores a hole. The rest of him slithers in. You sought peace. I gave it to you. This is hardly a gift. What have you done to me?
What have you done to me?
Who are you? Truly, I am the one keeping the storm at bay. Sauron is my enemy as much as yours. I can help you destroy him.
I will not stop until this is put right.
Every soul in the seen or unseen world will know that it was you who was the architect of their demise. At this moment, the great tale of our age is being written.
You think it was only you who put yourself in my power? Galadriel.
All right. What do you guys think?
Um, I think I want to
So
watch Lord of the Rings again. Straight up.
That's
Just tell me
crazy
straight.
that how
yeah,
much money they spent.
I mean, yeah, to me,
I,
it's really impressive, actually.
I see the effects of where the money went and stuff too. So, like,
But even okay, so let's just kind of go back through a couple things in here. So, I saw, I was reading through some of the comments, and people were like, man, if Peter Jackson had that much money to spend on Lord of the Rings, like even how much better it would have been. But like, um,
Yeah, that would have been crazy.
I think there's some amazingly good effects working here. And if I worked on it, I would be quite proud, actually. It's, but they're looking at, literally about $150 million an episode to do this thing. And that, I mean, I don't think Game of Thrones was more than 10 or 12 million, which is probably the most comparable to this type of thing, right? I'm looking
And the
for
scale that it's on, because they're covering so much like different areas and realms and stuff.
yeah. Okay, now I had a question. This is one of the things. So yesterday when we were talking about Minecraft, which by the way, I'm gonna pull up here for a second, and I'm gonna compare a couple of shots. Okay. Because there were a couple things that we got into about Minecraft yesterday that I actually thought was pretty interesting. Okay, so we have this one. I don't mean to torture you guys with this one at the
Yeah.
but okay, so right here. Okay, so this shot right here. I think we all kind of agreed yesterday when we were talking about this how it absolutely does not work putting live action people into a setting like this, right?
Yes,
we-
correct.
Yeah.
Still agree on that, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Because it just doesn't work. But hold on, now let's go back to. Nope, that's me. Sorry. Hang on. Why does it work here? Because literally, I mean, you guys can see that most of this is actually shot on a green screen. I mean, I can certainly see that, but like, I mean, the buildings are all CG. Probably the fountain is all CG. Everything in the background is all completely done, just like it is in Minecraft. But why does it work here and not in Minecraft?
Because this is like or like real architecture. Like this is what it probably looked like back in the day. This is like a real looking house for the time period being, and it's not blocks. It's not like all cubes, and it's like the smoothness of the people to like the buildings. It looks right. I don't know how to put my tongue on it, but like
No, I think that makes sense. I mean, like what you're saying is like, these people are shot to actually be there in the setting. Whereas, you look at you go back to Minecraft here, um, like the lighting is sort of similar in terms of the directionality of the lighting, but and they put some shadows on the ground, but there's no mystery here whatsoever that this is shot on a green screen and stuff. So and that they're not really intended to be there. So yeah, that was just kind of my thinking. Like we criticize this one pretty harshly for a lot of reasons, right? For just feeling weird and not but then we go and look at again the most expensive TV show ever made and go, yeah, that works. Like in they spent a lot of time to really try to integrate all of these people, and to make it to make it all work. I would venture to say that if they were to do before and after on this shot, that you would find that most of this is on a green screen, or they may very well have done huge LED screens for this also, where because where it's actually essentially a rear projection, and so that really helps make the lighting far more accurate. So, but okay, so now, so when you watch this trailer, what works for you guys and what doesn't work? What are your overall thoughts on it?
was game was Lord of the Rings. I never watched this. I mean, I watched two with my cousins, but like
Okay.
nothing crazy I remember. Was it meant to be like horror, like have a little like of a creep feeling to it? Like
That's a good question. Okay, so the original Lord of the Rings movies were late 1990s, early 2000s. And so it's not okay. And Peter Jackson, um, prior to doing that, was he had done a few kind of horror type movies. There was one with Michael J. Fox. I cannot remember the name of that was kind of cool, but it had a bit of that feel to it. But the orcs are intended to be these slimy, toothy sort of bipedal creatures that are birthed from under the earth, right? And so they have that kind of gross look to them. So they're just kind of a main bad guy character in the overall thing. And yeah, so just the way they're shot and the way that he did them, yeah, they've got a real serious creep factor to them. And and he doesn't, and when they set it up, they did it really, really well. Like they made them look just almost like the creature from Aliens. That just the teeth
The
and
Predator, like
the predator, yeah, stuff like that.
I like this. I like this little atmosphere, like shot, I guess.
This is a great shot, honestly, and and it's really interesting too because you can always tell when you're looking at stuff. You've got the A team, they're the really, really high skill artists that have been doing this forever, that know how to just get in there and make. This is a beautiful shot, honestly. Um,
it shows
and
wide range and a vast area.
yeah, I mean, it's because shots like this, particularly landscapes like this, are intended to make your eye go in a direction. Like either, you're looking at like here, let's just play it real quick. You're looking at all the people in the foreground here that are doing their thing, and your eye is intended to travel. And that's like, when you go back and look at like, landscape paintings, right, from 17, 16, 1500s and stuff like that, and you go and look at like the people that were really skilled at that kind of stuff, their overall goal is exactly the same as it is here, is to make your eye travel. So either your eye follows along the tree line here and it ends up right in here, and then your eye kind of travels this direction and follows the outline of the hills and then maybe moves off into the distance here. So because that's just naturally when you go out into the wilderness, right, your eye is scanning horizon lines, and it just that's what you do. And so it's this shot is intended to make your eye move either this way out to the because it'll follow the light and then back into the valley. You can see if you really look at it, that's what your eyes do. And then so it's a really high skilled thing that they did here. It's actually really, really, really well done. So, but like.
This is the work.
I mean, I'll just say it's real. I find it to be really impressive. Now, I don't know what that says for the story. I will say from my experience watching season one, I wasn't overly engrossed by it. I just have to say it was okay. Yeah, that's cool. It didn't. It didn't strike me. I had a real difficult time. You guys know this when I talk about like going to a movie or watching a TV show or something like that. It's always really difficult for me to divorce being the visual effects guy and being just a fan, because I'm literally just looking at the visual effects. That's so it's just part of the job, right? And so it was hard for me to even follow the story because what I was really doing was, wow, how did they do that? Or what, are they using Unreal or Unity? And I think they were using Unity for a lot of it because if I understand, there was some big sale of the assets from Weta, which is Peter Jackson's company, to Unity, and so that was, I think, was what precipitated being able to do a lot of this. But I just sat there watching the effects work, and I found myself to be, okay, wait a minute, what is going on? Who are these people? And I would have to go back and rewatch it. And at a certain point, you're like, I don't know if I've got that much time, because it's a lot of episodes, and it's like I always find that if it doesn't snag you right at the beginning, sometimes the slow burn
That's
Doesn't
why
always get
I was gonna say
doesn't
too
always
as
get you
well.
there. Go ahead.
It's like it's because of the drama in it. It didn't get to the action quick. Like certain parts of it didn't get to the action quick enough, or it has the build up takes too long to build up.
Yeah. And that was, that was kind of my feeling. Now, I remember talking about it with one of my previous classes. Hang on one second.
I liked the
It,
first season. I checked it out too.
you did, you liked it?
Yeah.
One of my previous students was talking about it, and he really was like, look, it actually kind of follows a little bit more of the game. There's a game. And so a lot of the characters that you find in the first season really are much more, if you're a fan of the game, then it makes a lot more sense. And my understanding is that at the end of either Fellowship of the Ring in the book, and they're and Return of the King, Tolkien put in appendices in there that had just kind of like little summaries of other characters and things that were kind of included, or that maybe the reader needed to understand some backstory. And a lot of what these seasons are about is the backstory, that was never actually told in the books. And so there's been, this is obviously was never written by Tolkien as an actual story. This is an adaptation of just kind of his general outlines of things. And so, for that reason, some people are kind of like, I don't know if he would really approve, but
So was
They,
the first season's like pacing just bad? That's what I'm thinking.
that was my feeling on it,
yes.
but I
Yes.
didn't, again, I'm not, that's just my opinion, on it. And it didn't hook me, but I will tell you, man, the visual effects did. I mean, I was watching some of that stuff going, wow, we are really looking at the driving edge of what we can do in visual. I mean, because when anybody throws that much money at something, they've got the resources to come up with creative solutions for things that we've never seen before. And so, and I do love when shows like this come out, and typically they're films that do this, like, Avatar, and what else? Give me another one. Even any of the Star Wars movies, when you've got that much budget, there's technology that gets created as a result of trying to solve problems for these films, and essentially this TV show also, that ultimately become part of what we do. Like they ultimately make their way filtering down to the general public, and you go, oh, cool, these are things that now I get to use. And so I always love when somebody goes and spends a lot of money. It's like, there end up being tools that come from it that really make our jobs easier. So, but
You know what other this is off topic. I just started thinking about it once you said give me another one. You know what other movie does VFX really well?
so
I don't know if you've ever watched any of the Doctor Strange movies.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Dude, they are wild.
No, I'll agree. That was um I wasn't a huge fan of the Doctor Strange movies, but I loved the effects work because I thought it was really stunning. And there was and I maybe maybe you and I are the only people that feel that way, but I remember watching it going, that's really inventive. And I've told you guys, anytime that I see things that are outside, not that Doctor Strange is outside the hero realm, because he certainly falls within the Marvel universe, but like anything that's not just like space based, or putting a cape on somebody and having them fly around, but like really 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 pushes the bounds of what we've seen before, I'm in favor of that. And I felt like Doctor Strange did that. um
I like Doctor
Now,
Strange.
yeah, I thought that was really, I mean, I thought there was some really inventive stuff that they did in those movies. Now, whether or not, Lord of the Rings here, Rings of Power, pushes the envelope, we'll see. I hope it finds an audience because, I love big stuff like this. I will admit, that I have not actually gone and watched it yet, so I'm going to go and check it out. But wanted to talk about it a little bit just to kind of see, just to get some conversation going. So anyway, yeah, it's good stuff. There's some really, really well
It's
conceived
movie
stuff.
quality. It's like It's like you're
Absolutely.
watching a movie versus watching a TV show.
I mean, there are so few shows that can do anything close to this. I mean, anymore. And I would say Game of Thrones is probably, or House of the Dragon, which I don't think that House of the Dragon is quite what Game of Thrones was.
No, it's
Um,
not. It's not.
um, so, this one for me, that's probably the closest one is the Game of Thrones. And again, you're years ago on that now. And so there's been a lot of changes to technology and the way we do things. So anyway, um,
Oh, and Now You See Me movies, they're pretty good at VFX.
which one?
Now You See Me, the magician movies, like where they're like,
Oh yeah,
they do pretty good on it too.
I don't know if I've seen those.
With Woody Harrelson and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was just one film, right? It wasn't like, or was there a sequel to it?
it was a sequel. It was two.
I was
Yeah.
okay. Cool. All right. Well, that was kind of what I was what I wanted.